What's good?
After we're done, what's done is done. I don't want nothing else to do with it. Let me tell you a secret.
Because a lot of people have been asking me to tell them how to study, but it's just like, I can show you the way I know how to study, but that might not work for you. Like, you just have to see how you retain information in a good way to where you're gonna remember it. But there are study tricks and things to help you remember, but you have to learn how to study by yourself first, because I can tell you what I do and everything, but what I do is what I had to learn how to do for myself on my own, if you know what I'm saying. Like, no one else taught me, because I just said, okay, let me figure out how I'm about to study. And then I made a study guide by myself, and then I use flashcards. I study the best, I retain information the best using flashcards. So that's what I would just be doing. And then I have different things to help me, like I do the to-do and then the done. That just helps me figure out what I'm about to do, what I need to do, what I've done. It gives me a mental preparation for what I have to do. Like, it gives me motivation to put it to the other side. But not all people like doing that. A lot of people like handwritten stuff. A lot of people like message notes, alerts on their phone and all that stuff. But I like to visually see. Like, I'm a visual learner, and I like to hear it too. So it's just all types of different stuff. Like, but I mean, if you do go to my school and you want me to help you study, I mean, I could help you study, but I'm just saying, like, it might not be the best for you, and I'm not sure of all the other ways, because I only use this way, and it's just been working for me so well. Like, last year it just worked for me so well in psychology, and I got the highest grade in the class. Like, it was literally so, it just became a routine, and it became easy for me. It became so easy for me to study. Like, I'd get excited wanting to study, because I'd know, like, okay, I got this. Like, I already know what to do, so I'm just gonna do good on the test. Like, that's a good feeling. But like, if you aren't sure, that's like the worst feeling, trying to take a test and you don't know anything that's on there, or getting a bad grade on your test or whatever. I just don't like that feeling, so I try so hard not to get that feeling, which is to study as hard as I can. But when you're studying, you want to break up your study time. You don't want to just crunch all your study hours into one day, or even like right before the class, because I can't retain information like that. I have to repeatedly go over stuff for me to remember it. So the way I do it is that if there's a test on Friday, because my test in psychology always used to be on Fridays, and we'd have 3 class meetings, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So he would usually give us a study guide, but the study guides would just not be so detailed, or as detailed as you need them to be. So what I would do is basically get the study guide that he gave us, and then make another study guide off of that. It seems like it's a lot. It does, but it's really not. All you have to do is break it up. Like, if he gives you a topic and then says find this, you just write that down again, find the stuff, and add the definitions in your study guide onto that paper. So that's basically the answers to the study guide, but you're writing it in sentence form, and you're having definitions and all the things that he's asking on the study guide are answered on your study guide, basically. And then from there, from your study guide that you remade with the answers on it, you want to pull the answers out and put them on flashcards. That seems like a lot. It is. But it works. And if you do this before, like, don't try to do this the day before, because I mean, I did it 2 days before one time, but that's besides the point, because I've been doing it. So it's like, I know my limits. I'm not gonna do it the day before because I'm gonna get an F. That's just that. But if I start a week before, I'm gonna get an A, no matter what. Because even if you're having a hard time, if you keep going over the stuff that you need to go over, it's gonna stick. And once it sticks, it's like, it's fun. Like, you're just saying the definitions before you even read the question. Like, you need to get to that level before you just stop studying. And you never really stop studying. You just look over the stuff. You can say it in your head or whatever, but it's essential for me to study like that. What was I gonna say? And it's different for every class, because some class doesn't have a lot of definitions. So like, what are you gonna write on flashcards? You can write anything on flashcards. Anything that you need to remember, you can write it on a flashcard. It doesn't have to be front and back. You can just have the front or the back or whatever. What else? Also, if you study in an environment that you're gonna take the test in, then it does actually help. Like, if you study in a quiet environment, it helps when you're in the quiet environment for your test. And also, if you study like drinking an apple juice, or if you study like with your favorite pencil or something, you just have to study with something that you can bring in the class and use that same utensil or drink that same apple juice, and it'll retain the memory because you're used to being in that environment or that situation. So when you're taking the test, it just gives you more hopes of passing. Like, that's just like a little trick. I've honestly the only thing that I've done is just study in a quiet environment, and that just helps me. But in my room, I can't really go to the library and study. Like, I don't like libraries, to be honest. But yeah, and I can't do group study unless, I mean, I can group study, but afterwards I have to study by myself. Like, we're not group taking the test, so that's another thing. Like, if you want to group study, just remember you just should study by yourself for like 30 minutes. But usually, like, when I'm done making this study guide off of the other study guide and doing the flashcards, and not even going over this flashcards, because the first day I just make everything and I make all the flashcards. That's the first day, and I don't touch it. I don't go over the stuff because that's too much. I'm already drained from making a study guide. I'm already drained from writing down all these flashcards, so I'm not gonna go over it that same day. But the next day, I'll look over, I'll read the study guide that I made, and then I'll study the flashcards. And that process, honestly, the time goes by so quick. It'll be like 2 hours have gone by. But I don't like setting a limit for myself, like, oh, study for 3 hours. Like, I'm not studying for 3 hours. You really got me bent. Like, I'm not about to sit there and be, no. But when I do study, it does end up being like 2 hours. Like, I don't know how. I honestly do not know how. But in the comments below, tell me how you study and if it's effective. This probably has been a boring video, but I hope that it helped some of you guys, because a lot of people have been asking me how I study and all this stuff. So yeah, see y'all later.